It was a breezy Sunday afternoon in early spring, and the Miller household was buzzing with activity. The family had gathered to celebrate little Ethan's 5th birthday, turning the usually quiet home into a cacophony of laughter, chatter, and the occasional crash of toys. Cousins ran amok, chasing each other through the hallways, while the adults huddled in the kitchen and living room, catching up over coffee and snacks. Claire Miller, Ethan's 28-year-old aunt, was the unofficial host of the day, orchestrating the chaos with a practiced hand. She had spent the morning ensuring the decorations were perfect, the cake was ready, and the house was presentable enough to accommodate her large, boisterous family. By mid-afternoon, though, she was ready for a break. After serving the cake and helping her sister, Jessica, tidy up the dining table, Claire decided it was time to change out of her semi-formal outfit into something more comfortable. The fitted jeans and floral blouse she'd been wearing all morning were starting to feel restrictive, and all she wanted was to slip into her favorite sweatpants and oversized hoodie. As she made her way to her bedroom, Claire noticed the kids scattering into various rooms, giggling and shushing each other as they played an intense game of hide-and-seek. Ethan was the loudest, his small voice carrying down the hallway as he shouted, "You can't find me." Claire smiled to herself, reminded of her own childhood, when she and Jessica had spent countless afternoons playing similar games in the same house. Pushing open her bedroom door, she stepped inside, closing it behind her, but forgetting to lock it in her hurry. She kicked off her sneakers and tossed her blouse onto the chair by the window. The cool air brushed against her skin as she reached for her hoodie, draped neatly over the bed. Just as she was pulling it over her head, she heard a soft creak. Turning around, Claire froze, her heart skipping a beat. Standing in the doorway was Ethan, his big brown eyes wide with surprise and curiosity. He clutched his favorite red toy car, his little fingers gripping it tightly. "Ethan's?" Claire exclaimed, her voice a mix of shock and embarrassment. She yanked the hoodie down, covering herself as quickly as possible. "What are you doing here?" Ethan didn't move, his expression a mixture of confusion and guilt. I was hiding," he mumbled, his voice barely above a whisper. Claire sighed, crouching down to his level. "Sweetie, you can't just walk into someone's room like that, okay? You need to knock first. It's important to give people privacy." "I'm sorry, Aunt Claire," Ethan said, his lower lip trembling. His small voice tugged at her heartstrings. Claire softened, reaching out to gently pat his shoulder. "It's okay, buddy. I know you didn't mean to. But next time, remember to knock, all right?" Ethan nodded vigorously, his solemn expression almost comical. "Okay," he said, his voice firmer now. Claire smiled, standing up and ruffling his hair. "All right, go back and play. And no more sneaking into rooms, got it?" "Got it," Ethan chirped, his previous worry forgotten as he turned and ran down the hallway, shouting, "I'm not hiding here anymore." Shaking her head, Claire closed the door properly this time, locking it for good measure. She leaned against it for a moment, letting out a deep breath. The embarrassment lingered, but she couldn't help but chuckle at the innocence of the situation. Ethan was just a child, too young to understand why his actions might make someone uncomfortable. Still, it was a reminder for her to be more careful in the future. Later that evening, as the party wound down and the guests began to leave, Ethan's earlier intrusion became the topic of a light-hearted family conversation. Sitting in the living room, Claire recounted the incident to Jessica, who burst into laughter. "Honestly, that boy has no boundaries," Jessica said, wiping a tear from her eye. "He's curious about everything." "He's 5, Jess," Claire replied with a smile. "Curiosity is basically his job description." Ethan, overhearing their conversation, walked up to Claire and tugged on her sleeve. "Are you mad at me, Aunt Claire?" he asked, his voice small. Claire's heart melted. She pulled him into a hug, shaking her head. "Of course not, Ethan. But remember what I said about knocking, okay?" "I will," he promised, looking up at her with earnest eyes. The incident might have been minor, but it sparked a larger reflection for Claire. She realized how quickly Ethan was growing up and how his innocent actions today might one day give way to more complex behaviors as he learned about personal boundaries and respect for others. It was a reminder of the responsibility adults had in teaching these lessons with patience and love. Over the next few weeks, Claire noticed a change in Ethan. Whenever he approached her room or anyone else's, he would knock first, waiting for a response before entering. It was a small but significant victory, one that made Claire proud of the young boy he was becoming. As for Claire, the incident became a cherished memory, a funny story to share at family gatherings, and a reminder of the sweet, fleeting innocence of childhood. It was a moment of vulnerability, yes, but also one of connection, a bond between an aunt and her nephew that only grew stronger with time.